Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Hey New Orleans, get ready for some rugby. There's a new pro sports team in town, and it's NOLA Gold, bringing world-class rugby to the Crescent City. The game is fast, the hits are hard, the fan experience is for real. Season tickets, lifetime tickets, and game day passes are all available at NOLAGoldRugby.com. I'm John Goodman, and I'll see you in the scrum.
Well, here's the bottom line. It's funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, and if you're watching this next week, Happy New Year as well. Hey, by the way, nobody wants to work on Christmas, so we taped this a few days before the Saints game, so I don't know what happened in the Steelers game, but I'm hoping it was a big win in the Superdome. Hey, but what I do know is LSU is about to play in the big bowl game coming up, the Fiesta Bowl against UCF. That's coming up. And remember, a couple weeks ago, Tulane won, so congrats to them once again. Hey, another great show for you. I have the head of all tourism and the voice you hear in the Dome. Mark Romig is joining us. He is the New Orleans Tourism Chief over there, bringing all the great events here. Chase Fourcade, the Southland Conference Player of the Year, quarterback for Nichols. And, of course, our rugby. Our NOLA Gold guys are in the house. Olympian Con Foley from Australia and Holden Youngert right here on Primetime Sports. Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. It's Christmas. And if you're watching next week, it's Happy New Year, which means the Sugar Bowl is probably being played in a few minutes. But by the way, last week we had Doug Thornton. We talked about how he got his job as, I call it, the czar of the Superdome, obviously the executive vice president of SMG. Well, this week we have just as interesting a person. Well, you remember his dad. His dad was the guy that you always heard at the Dome. And if you're old like me, you remember hearing him at Tulane Stadium when you go to the games. First down, New Orleans. Well, this is what he does now. His son took over. Jerry Romig was his dad's name. Jay Romig is his brother, who got in the Saints Hall of Fame, a guy that's been working for the Saints for 40 years. And here is the other brother. His name is Mark Romig. He's also the head of the tourism board here. We'll get into that. But most importantly for us, it's a sports show. You are the Saints guy. Every time we hear anything in the Dome,
first down, Saints!
First down, Saints! Well, talk about the history of this, man. You've been going to these games since they started.
Dad would bring us to the stadium back when he started in 1969, and that booth was much smaller than the house controls.
I just get chills hearing your voice, by the way.
David, Dad, and I share that deviated septum, so that's
what
brought
the secret?
me to this seat. Yes, sir. We joked that we both had the same sinus issue, and I think when Dad decided to retire, the Saints wanted to not change it up on the fans, and so have a similar sound and a similar tone.
Right.
And there I was with my deviated septum ready to go.
I mean, was this a kind of a foregone conclusion?
No.
I mean, how did this come about?
Dad and I never talked about this. It was really when Dad started to think about, post microphone, and the Saints and he got together and they spoke about it, and they thought this would be a seamless sort of transition. Now, Dad's the master. I mean, he did it for 44 years.
44 years.
Never missed a game, 446 consecutive games. And he developed, those sayings and the way to say first down and touchdown. And so what I try to do is just emulate as much of that as I can.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
That's
It's such a familiar voice. We love it.
He's my inspiration. So, yeah.
Well, okay. What year did you start doing it?
I started in 2013.
Okay, so you're in like sixth season now.
Yeah, this is my sixth season.
Sixth season.
I started the first game of the regular season. Dad brought it all the way to end of the preseason, and then I started.
Are you loving it?
It is. It's a blast. Listen, if I could do that full time as well, I would do it. It's so much fun, and I'm a fan, so getting involved. Trying to keep my emotions in check as much as I can, but the Saints and the NFL do allow announcers to really punch hard on the third down for the opponent, and we have fun with that. And of course, when I
to get the crowd going,
and we have an opportunity to really punch a receiver's name when they do well, or of course Drew Brees, he's been so consistent, and to punch his name. And all the players, it's fun. It's fun to be there, but it's a family affair, as you know, because my brother Jay's in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
And my sister Mary Beth spots for me, as well as Dr. Tony Melito from Brother Martin High School.
It's a family affair. There they are right there.
Yeah, so it's like going to Sunday dinner. It's
every other Sunday, basically.
That's right.
So how much fun is it when they win every home game like they're doing right now, except for the Tampa Bay game?
It's been very exciting. I mean, it's been a great season, and ever really since the Bensons stepped in and started operating the organization, and the level of excellence that they've brought to the table, and the team that they've put together, it's just very special.
Well, you got the Sugar Bowl tie, which is next week in the Superdome. You got a great matchup. I'm loving the tie. It's Georgia versus Texas.
Georgia, Texas, two
phenomenal universities.
They're traveling well. The city's filled with fans, and it's going to be a special game. And so I'll have the opportunity and the good fortune to announce that game as well. Dad did the Sugar Bowl as well.
Yeah, what's your history with the Sugar Bowl? What do you remember? What like some of your early memories?
I came in as a member back in 1989, I believe, and I immediately started working the committee structure. You as a new member, you have to really get your hands dirty, so to speak, and work the committees. I did entertainment committee, and that's really where I kind of made my mark. There's so many things that you do for the teams while they're in town, as well as the spouses and just the team officials, and so that's fun. We like to show off the city, and it's such a great impact.
Well, for the first time, I have a different prop today. We normally have these balls, which you always see, but today we have something you brought. An angel blocked a punt. I want you to hold up and kind of tell me what it's about.
So this past year, the city of New Orleans has been marketing itself to destinations around the country to get people to come visit New Orleans for the tricentennial.
Right.
We're telling stories about things that have happened in our past, and in this case, using the tagline "One time in New Orleans, an angel blocked a punt," we tell a great story of Steve Gleason blocking that great
a true hero in so many
first
words,
game back, as Doug Thornton talked about last week.
Yeah.
And here we say that he's been an inspiration to the people of New Orleans. He has battled through ALS, and he inspires the city.
Look at our
each and every
producer.
day.
He's right on it. He's got shots of Gleason, the statue right here.
It's such a great. So we tell that great story, and we also joke that this is an ad that would probably never be seen in Atlanta, Georgia.
No, this will not be in Atlanta.
We
they do not like this.
We don't
day.
want to push that to the Atlanta fans.
Although Jim Moore said if we had to lose one, Jim Moore Jr., who was coaching the Falcons, he goes, it might as well to be y'all.
Yeah, and I was sitting in the stands.
And there's Gleason right there. That's right after the punt. Yeah, so you were at the game.
I was at the game as a fan, sitting in the stands, section 149, and like everybody else, just tears when that. I get chills just thinking about it. Green Day, and it just, it was just an unbelievable.
One of the most magical nights of many New Orleanians' lives.
It really showed that we were coming back as a city, and then a few years later, here we go to the Super Bowl. Mom and Dad were fortunate to go with the Saints official family to the Super Bowl, and Dad was announcing the game in the stands as a fan.
Look
and
at
people
that.
were saying, Jerry Romig, look, you're announcing the game here in Miami too. But Dad was just sitting as a fan, just
That's
saying,
funny.
first down, Saints!
First down, Saints! Hey, okay, now talk about your real job every day, because I think everybody knows that you run the tourism board, but you're the CEO president
of New Orleans Tourism Marketing Corporation,
go.
which is the city's official leisure travel promotion agency.
Okay.
New Orleans and Company does the bulwark of all the group and associations and conventions, and that's operated by Stephen Perry. And
yeah,
he's
Steve
been
Perry,
in the position for a long time. He's done a great job, and so we partner with them. We handle domestic advertising for the city of New Orleans.
I love this. The Follow Your NOLA.
Follow Your NOLA for the first 4 years of the agency that works with us now, 360i. That was their creative concept to invite people to come and own New Orleans like we do as citizens. They wanted to tell people, come and go get the po' boy where we eat and listen to the music where we listen to our music.
The Dom Elises of the world.
So follow your NOLA. And now with the tricentennial, as I just showed you in this ad, one time in New Orleans, the city is full of stories, 300 years of stories. And we've been having a great time telling some great stories.
Coming up, you got some big events. I talked about this with Doug last week.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have big events here in New Orleans, the Sugar Bowl, et cetera, and we always have Mardi Gras, but we have the Final Four coming in 2022. You have the
National
NCAA
Football Championship
in 2020.
That'll be in January. We'll have the Sugar Bowl, and then we'll host the National Championship.
A week later,
so
right?
That's the double impact for the city, an even bigger impact for the National Championship. And then, of course, the Super Bowl in 2024. The city getting geared up for that. The committee's already formed, and they're starting to do all the
This is all right around the corner.
Yeah, we've got to raise some money for that. So there's a lot of activity. And the city is growing as a destination. We're providing jobs, and we're providing opportunity for people to really make a mark in the tourism industry. And of course, sports plays such a huge piece in that.
Such a big role. Hey, I want to take you back, because you've been going to Saints games probably as long as you can remember. Like your first memories, for me, it was more in the early 70s. I just remember when O.J. Simpson came to town, the Saints held him 69 yards a year. He ran for 2,000. And I remember like Howard Stevens, number 22, and Archie getting beat up in Tulane Stadium. I'm curious, with your dad being there, every game, I'm sure you were at every game. What was your first memory?
Well, my first memory was the first game when Gilliam did the run back.
So you have a clear memory of that?
Clear memory of that, Tulane Stadium. Dad was working with Channel 6 at the time. He got me a volunteer job running on the field with one of the cameramen, Bob Perrin,
Nice.
as he changed his, this was the old days when you had to put the film in the bag, and he changed it in the bag so the light wouldn't hit it. I mean, talking prehistoric days. So doing that work, I volunteered in the radio for Red Cross as a Boy Scout. But the best memory I have in those early years was when Tom Dempsey kicked the field goal. Dad allowed my brother and I to sit with him in the little booth that was underneath the upper deck on the west side.
November 6, 1970?
And we were there. We were one of the few people that remained in the stadium at that point. Though everybody claims that they were there.
Yes, sir.
And I remember the excitement and just being amazed at how much Dad got into that moment. I mean, it was huge, of course, for the
You remember his call? I mean,
it was something around "It's good."
It's 63-yard field goal by a guy with half a foot.
Tom Dempsey.
A walk-off.
And we beat Detroit Lions when it looks like it was a sure loss, and everyone was leaving the stadium.
And that's back when they had the goalpost was on the goal line, so he was on his own 37-yard line. I mean, you're talking all the way across
like
the field.
Hail Mary of Hail Marys.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it went right over that goalpost. It wouldn't have gone 64.
Exactly. That was a wonderful memory. And then the last Sugar Bowl, I think it was Alabama Notre Dame at Tulane Stadium.
The New Year's Eve one. I mean,
Eric Parsegian was the coach.
Bear Bryant,
Eric Parsegian, and of course
that's one of the national championships Alabama claims, even though they lost because the UPI gave them one the night before, and they lost 24-23. Correct?
Well, it was a wonderful evening. It was a wonderful period for New Orleans as well, because the Dome was going to be the next year, and people were looking forward to that opening up. And yeah, it's been great, and it's been part of my family for now 50 years. There's been a Romig in that booth for 50 years.
Speaking of Romig,
several Romigs actually.
Several of them, but I want to bring your brother up because he was on last year. He's such a there's nobody that doesn't love Jay. He's been working for the Saints for over 40 years, and he got in the Hall of Fame right there with obviously Jonathan Vilma and Nix, and it was such a great moment for not just him but your whole family. Yeah,
it was very, very special. Jay is the longest serving employee of the Saints organization now.
Wow.
And he
look at Jay right there. I love that picture.
He's my hero. He's consistent. He's passionate about his work. He's a great dad. His son Blake now works at the Saints.
Wow, yeah, I see Blake, yeah.
So Blake is there, so that's got to be special for them. And of course, my mom, I wanted to say earlier, Dad went to 446 consecutive games. So did Mom.
Your mom did as well?
She's the
there she is right
hero.
there.
Yeah, she is. She's the best.
Well, what's your typical day? I mean, like, you know,
for the game, we're there about 4 hours prior.
Okay.
There's a script that is put together. Josh Richardson is the director.
Okay.
And Kyle Campbell actually directs us in the house controls booth, but Josh is further down the hall directing all of what the fans see from the standpoint of the video boards, the entertainment. And it's heavily scripted because, you know, it's all about the fan experience.
Right.
We also have to make sure that the sponsors that make this possible
Absolutely.
get their due.
You have the big list.
So they go through the entire script. Now,
right.
Obviously, my work is really game time. But I think Josh likes to get the team there so that we're all a cohesive unit getting together. So I do a mic check, but I'm there just as backup if anything comes up that they need me to do. But I start at kickoff. That's when I go in. Chuck Edwards, that great voice, he does the Pelicans games.
Yes.
He does the hosting. So you hear Chuck's voice when they announce the teams coming out, when they do the commercials like Copeland's road race, a boat race. He's got such a great voice. He's in radio. He's from the coast. He does all the Pelicans games, so those that go to the Pelicans know his voice.
Absolutely.
And, it's a very cohesive team up there at the house control.
I asked you for your early memories. Now that you've been in this particular gig, replacing your dad for 6 seasons, you have 1 or 2 memories that stick out since you've been doing the job in the Dome?
Yeah, the first time I put my finger on the button, I thought to myself before, will my voice sound okay? That was like,
that's your first
oh my God,
memory?
what am I going to do? But once I got past that first call, then the butterflies settled down. But that's a memory, that first game. And the Saints organization sent me a commemorative football.
Oh, how cool!
Announcing saying it was my first game, which was a great honor. Each game is so special and so different. It's just been a great experience. And if I did it as long as my dad, God willing, I'll be 110. I'll be 110 years old.
You're 110 years old. You only got 38 years left.
That's right.
Hey, man, with medicine these days, who knows? Going forward, what's next for you in the city? Like, what are your plans in your regular job for the city of New Orleans?
Well, to continue looking at opportunities to grow spending in the city. That usually comes with bringing visitors in and making sure we do it responsibly, because a city that works for its residents is a city that visitors want to come to. And that was a phrase coined by Mayor Riley of Charleston, South Carolina many years ago.
Absolutely.
But it's important to do this correctly. So we're looking for those culture seekers, people who come to New Orleans, stay with us, respect our culture, invest in our culture, and spread the word. So just continuing to do that. We have a great team of people at the Tourism Marketing Corp. We work very well with New Orleans and Company. And just to help keep growing the economy. That's important to us.
Well, we have traditions here. It is Christmas Day, so we're giving out extra presents today. We like to get our guests to go to Shays de la Shays.
Oh, right. Yes.
Part of the de la Shays family. I actually went to a Christmas party there last week.
Excellent.
But we also give out shirts. I don't know if you know, this is New Orleans Company Task Performance. This is the softest sportswear ever.
Yeah. Oh,
feel that.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to love that. But today,
that's nice. Thank you.
It's Christmas.
Thank you
we're giving
very
out an extra gift. This is NOLAshirts.com. It's got the beautiful little fleur-de-lis right here.
That's
and
perfect
NOLA.
for tourism.
It's perfect for tourism, perfect for gifts. Hey, you can get the after Christmas gift. My man Billy Shell owns this company. He said, man, give these out on Christmas Day.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, by the way. We have a tradition also. We sign the ball. We have the balls hidden, so we're going to take this over here. Put the ball right there. You're the Voice of the Saints by Archie Manning and all these others on this ball. This is probably our 8th ball.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
But this, my man, Jay Romig's brother, Mark Romig, of course, Jerry's son, and he is truly one of the dignitaries of the city of New Orleans, and we're honored to have him. Hey, coming up next, don't forget, my rugby guys, the rugby season is around the corner. If you're watching this on Christmas, it is a month away. January 26th, the season starts. The NOLA Gold rugby team. Check out the schedule. We have 4 straight home games to start the season. Hey, they're trying to get in Baby Cake Stadium next season. That's the goal. Right now they're playing at Shaw, and it's a wonderful setup they've got over here. But here you go. They start with Toronto on the 26th. Get out and support your team because, hey, we have 3 major league teams now. Hey, remember the Baby Cakes and Zephyrs? That was a minor league team. Phenomenal, but that's minor leagues. This is a major league team. We have the Saints, the Pelicans, and NOLA Gold. Get out and support. And by the way, if you like to have a good time, hang out with people like John Goodman. There's a big event coming up just in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's at Rockin' Bowl, and it's a foundation. It's for a great cause, and John Goodman's going to be there. The Lieutenant Governor's going to be there, Iguanas, and a lot of folks you'll probably recognize. Just go and have a good time. It's over at Rockin' Bowl on the 13th of January. Mark, once again, I got to thank you. Thanks for everything you do for our city.
Appreciate it.
Seriously, this man does so much, just as Doug Thornton, who was here last week. Hey, by the way, we have a Player of the Year coming up next. That's right, the Southland Conference Player of the Year quarterback Chase Fourcade, who played at Rummel, is now at Nichols, and he has turned that team around along with Coach Tim Rebo and the rest of that squad. They're doing amazing things. And also, I showed you the rugby thing. Well, I've got a couple of their players coming up. And also, we got another song from Ronnie Lamarck. He's going to sing a Christmas song. It is Christmas. So we got all that coming up next on Primetime Sports.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
The owners of the Delachaise Wine Bar on St. Charles Avenue have opened up their newest creation uptown on Maple Street called Chez Delachaise, a new local wine bistro featuring a larger menu of small and large plates, a brighter atmosphere, and full table service. Additionally, patrons can enjoy a large patio out front as well as an extensive wine list offering selections from around the world. It's Chez Delachaise, 7708 Maple Street between Carrollton and Broadway.
Rockin' Bowl will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rockin' bowl at the city lane. All night, let's bowl, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rockin' bowl at the Mid-City Lanes, the home of rockin' bowl.
Embracing New Orleans soul with style in fashion wear from NOLAshirts.com. Show off your love for one of America's unique cities with shirts, belts, and hats in a variety of colors and styles. NOLAshirts.com proudly celebrates the culture and embodies the spirit and determination of people from the Crescent City. The tradition lives on at NOLAshirts.com.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if you're watching this the following week. Hey, we just had Romig talking about the Sugar Bowl coming up here in New Orleans with Georgia, Texas. Well, Georgia Bulldogs have been good for a long time, but my next guest, his first game was at Georgia, quarterback in Nichols Colonels, and that's right, Nichols, when he got there, had been 3-20. 3-20, 3 wins and 20 losses in the previous 2 years, including an 0-12. But when Chase Fourcade took over as quarterback, they went 5-6 the first year, 8-4 the second year, went to the playoffs, 9-4 this past year, got to the second round of the FCS playoffs for the first time since 1986, 32 years ago. Nichols has become cool, and mostly because of former Rumble star Chase Fourcade right here. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And everybody, when they hear the name Fourcade, they think of Saints right here. You see the signature, Uncle John Fourcade, who was a quarterback for the Saints in the late 80s, early 90s. Talk about being a dad, there's Keith, who played a little bit in the NFL, and Uncle John, and being part of that football family.
Yeah, you kind of have that blood, into you with the game of football. But all through my years when I was younger, I've been surrounded by a family that's been football oriented every day. But just enjoyed the game, the ins and outs of the game. Just along with my brother as well, he puts in a great knowledge of the game to me, and I kind of feed off of that. But like I said, through the years, it's kind of been It's been a great, it's just been a blessing.
I have to ask you a question. Tim Rebo is your coach, and I had him on the show right when he took over. And, he made a splash. I mean, getting Chase Fourcade to come to Nichols. Talk about that process, because he's such an electric guy, and I know you have a close relationship, but you had your choice of many schools. Why Nichols?
I just think it was the trust Coach Lee and Coach Rebo and Coach Rob brought to me, and just how much they wanted me as their quarterback, and me leading their team for 4 years. But just what he told me, with the opening visit and the in-home visit, is just I just felt comfortable with who I was with and who I was going to be surrounded by for 4 years. And they're like my brothers now, just my teammates, and then the coaches, they're like family. So it's all just comes together, and it's like I said, everything happens for a reason, and it's a great, like I said, great feeling to be where I'm at.
I know players always want to win the game, but when your first game, you go to Georgia, a top 10 team, between the hedges, the famed stadium at Sanford Stadium, and you're winning. Nichols is beating Georgia literally in the fourth quarter. What's going through your mind? Your first game as a quarterback in college.
Just how crazy it is. Definitely how crazy it is. It was 93,000 in the Georgia Stadium, and
93,000. I mean, come on.
And that was my first action into a crowd like that. But yeah, it was an unbelievable feeling. I got memories of that game, that day, and what we did, and our preparation, our game plan on how we was going to beat Georgia. And we came up short, but it was just, like I said, it was a great memorable season and a great memorable game.
Hey, well. I'm going to go back to your uncle because, he played in the Catholic League as a Jew. He played across the river at Shaw. Yep. He went to Ole Miss. I mean, he was a great player at Ole Miss. I remember going to some LSU Ole Miss games. Phenomenal. And then he went on and played for the New Orleans Saints. He kind of had a dream. I mean, this guy stayed in town playing for the pro team. What kind of influence as a quarterback? I know your dad has the biggest influence because your dad, and he was a player himself, but he played linebacker. Your uncle played quarterback. What influence did he have on you?
Just how well he knows the game. Like I said, the ins and outs of just little things that can really improve my game each and every week, and just little things that.
Does he call you during the week?
Yeah, he actually. We'll talk after the game.
Okay.
We'll go out to eat. During the week of a game week preparation, and we'll talk just for 20-30 minutes about the game. Then it'll usually be just about life and just how things are going. But after the game, we'll talk about just some of the mistakes I made, if I did, and just he, like I say, he's a great uncle just to have, and because he's right there by me every week, and he always he's giving me great advice to just like I said, just how to improve the game and how I can take my game to the next level.
And I think people are surprised that your dad also played in the NFL briefly, and a great player at Ole Miss as well. I want to give Keith props as well. That's for you, Keith. But moving forward, let's talk about Rummel, man, because you're a New Orleans guy. You played at Rummel. I love your coach at Nichols, but Jay Roth is another great mentor in your life. You guys were always phenomenal. And talk about playing for the Raiders.
Man, it was. I wish I can go back. It was great. 4 years, guys,
3-year starter?
Yeah, 3-year starter, but just 4 years there with Damian Williams as a quarterback before me, and just his time over there and how well he led the Raiders to great
state championship.
2 state championships with him, 1 under his belt.
Right.
I got 2 under my belt, but
so you had 2 state championships?
Yeah, I had 2. I won 1.
Right.
I got the ring my freshman year, but I didn't.
How hard is it to get a state championship?
It's hard,
right?
Especially with. Well, now it's kind of, you can be 0-30 and still win a championship in this little division, in the division now, but I'm just joking.
I'm about to say. Yeah. Let's not get on that soapbox right now.
But, it's tough, man. You just really you gotta stay focused each and every week, and because now you got teams that you can play again, like you played in a regular season, but, you just gotta, like I said, stay focused and just worry about that week and just get the job done and just win in advance.
When I introduced you earlier, I said, the team had gone to the second round of the playoffs for the first time. You beat San Diego. You had that home game. Yep. FCS is more of a playoff thing. It's not, they don't do just the Final Four teams. You have a bunch of teams go. You have to win it 4 or 5 times to win it all. So you win that first game, and what's the elation like going in to that, knowing that this team in over 3 decades has not gone to the second round?
Yeah, it was neat just with the fans and the community in Thibodeau, just how well they supported us the last 3-4 years with Coach Rupert there, and just like I said, the community, it's unbelievable just how well they really support us and really love us, and they really want us to succeed and on and off the field. But you can just tell just by going to restaurants, just they walk up to you, just tell you.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm sure they haven't gotten that part in the last 4 or 5 years, just with their record. But it just goes to show with the spark of the football team, just how well the community is surrounded.
As great a
behind
talent
me, yep.
as you have, I mean, and it's immense. And like I said, you could play quarterback almost anywhere, and I believe you're going to be an NFL prospect. Your leadership is what it puts you over the top, and it's evident. If anybody watches you play, the way you interact with your teammates, the way they respond to you.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about that aspect of your game, because I think that's as important as having the physical tools.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, you're not necessarily being the talkative guy on the team, or always rah-rah with the team. I mean, I kind of, you got also players that lead by example, and not only with me, just other players on our football team that can do the job well and just get the job done. And you got guys surrounded that you can have people surrounded by you that just really follow you and just know what it takes to win. And I think that's the big thing with being a college quarterback is you got to have that winning mentality and that winning just go getting the job done. And we like I said, we got guys I'm surrounded by that just really want to get the job done no matter how we do it.
And speaking of that, man, success breeds success. And have you watched the recruiting since? I mean, you getting guys. Texas A&M had Kendall Bussey, and all of a sudden he's now playing at Nichols. Julian Gums, the De La Salle ex-quarterback, now playing running back for Nichols. You're getting a pipeline not just from New Orleans, but you're starting to get some of your pick of the litter here.
Yeah, and that was the big thing just with my recruiting with Nichols is I was looking at other recruits that were getting recruited by Nichols with me, and I look at Evan Veron and Celeste, and those are just guys that came with me that I just knew that they had that winning. They went to the state championship a couple of times, and they just knew what it was like to win. And Dontrell Taylor, running back, came in my year.
Phenomenal, by the way.
Marcel Andrew with Ronald Ollie, they came in same year as well, and they just had that winning national championship with East Mississippi, and they knew what it takes to win. And Coach Rebo knew what it takes to win. He went to a couple bowls with UL, and I had Coach Lee, the offensive lineman, that he came from Rummel, that he just knew what it takes to win. And that's the big thing with trying to change up a culture is you got to have a winning mentality.
You took the word out of my mouth.
And you got to have
change
guys,
the culture of what's going on right there.
You got to have guys that really want to work and really want to work hard and to get to new goals and in the season. That's what we got. That's what we strive to do, and that's what we did. So we're still working.
Down here in South Louisiana, we all know where Thibodaux is. Everybody knows Thibodaux. Nichols is in Thibodaux. But Thibodaux's on the national map now in the summer because of the Manning Passing Academy. Yeah. And you're talking about hard work and getting it done. We have a shot of you with Peyton Manning watching you and instructing you there, right there. Yep. Talk about a guy that's worked harder. He outworked everybody. He's got great tools, no doubt about it. He's one of the best, greatest quarterbacks that ever lived. But his work ethic is off the charts. What did you learn from him?
I mean, what haven't I learned from just those 3 years there? It's my third year. It was my third year going, and my second year actually coaching the young guys. And you have 8:30 staff meeting, and then from 8:30 to 9, you're with the Mannings.
Kind of explain to people that don't know, because this has become a worldwide thing where people know about this now. Right. Everybody, these scouts, and you have every quarterback for the last 15 years that's anybody has been there.
Yeah, and it's neat because my first year coaching, we had Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold. About 6 of the 7 guys drafted in the first round was at the Manning camp, and actually going to hang out with them, at socials and just going out and just enjoying ourselves. Actually being there with them, you get just a sense of how they treat their life and how they treat just being a college quarterback. But man, just being with the Mannings, just the advice they give us and just what to work on with our receivers, with our teams, and
you learn so much, huh?
It's a great experience, man. Just because, like I said, they're not only talking about football, they're just talking about how can you be a better person, better player. It
all relates, by the way.
Exactly.
It all relates. By the way, talking about your future. Hey, some of our best quarterbacks come from smaller schools. I mean, Carson Wentz is up in North Dakota. Yes, and what are your thoughts? Because, I mean, you've got another year playing college football, but what are your thoughts about the future? What do you want to do, and what do you think you can do?
I think you just got to work hard just where you're at, no matter, like you said, no matter if you're at a small school or a big school, you just really got to really work hard and just really go after your dreams, regardless of how well or how, like I said, not well y'all doing with y'all's teams. But if you just have a really good work ethic and really you want to work hard at what you do and you can do it, you can definitely reach for it. But yeah, I'm just gonna just really enjoy these moments, you know, with my teammates and just with the great university I'm at right now, and just have another great year under my belt with my 4th year there. It's crazy to think about.
Well, let me say this. You beat Kansas this year. I mean, listen, Kansas isn't great, but they're a Power 5 team. You went into Lawrence, Kansas, and beat them. This is a team that stayed with Texas, stayed with Oklahoma, who's in the Final Four, and almost, you know, beat those teams. You beat them. What was that like for you?
Oh, unbelievable. You know, the crowd there, you know, it's crazy. Just, they're, like you said, a Power 5, Big 12 school, just how well they bring the crowd. And, you know, that's a great team they got over there. You know, I know they got Les Miles coming in, but that's a great group of players that I played against. You know, some of them are from New Orleans. But,
yeah, they have a pipeline.
Yeah, but, you know, it was, like I said, great experience. We just executed well and just, you know, got the job done. But like I said, we knew that we could go in there and win the ball game, just like we did with University of Georgia and at Texas A&M.
And Texas A&M was another team you almost beat.
I said, we had a mindset of going in there, you know, trying to win the football game, and, you know, we just fell up short. But, like I said, great experience, and just I love the atmosphere.
Well, Chase, I heard this about you. I know you're a great player, but you're even a better person. That's the biggest compliment I can give anyone. So I want to thank you for that
yes, sir.
and everything you
yes,
do.
Sir.
The whole city is rooting for you. The state is rooting for you. Trust me, you've made us all Nichols fans. And here we got, it's Christmas. The only reason I'm doing it's Christmas. We're giving out gifts. That's Shays Delachey's Task Performance, a nice soft shirt you can work out in.
Yes, sir.
And then NOLAshirts.com. By the way, NOLA shirts. This little fleur-de-lis,
yes, sir.
And we got a little NOLA underneath. You got to represent where you're from,
yes,
wherever you go.
Yes, sir.
There it is.
Yes,
Merry
sir.
Christmas to you.
Again. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
Uncle John, take care of this guy. And, of course, Dad Keith. Hey, coming up next, hey, rugby has stolen my heart. I've always been a basketball guy, football, baseball. I love the major sports. But now rugby's in town. We have a new Major League Rugby team, and we have two of their finest, Con Foley, Australian, who played in the Olympics, and the guy who was with us last year, Holden Youngert. They're coming up next on Primetime Sports.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your hearts be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days, oh, those happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, they gather near to us once more. Through the year, we all will be together if our Savior allows. Hang his shining star up on the highest bough and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Faithful friends who are dear to us, they gather near to us once more. Through the year, we all will be together if our Savior allows. Hang his shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas, everybody. Feliz Navidad.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. And how about for the second straight week, my man Ronnie Lamarck with Have Yourself a Very Little Christmas. Remember last week he had a different song, and last year it's a new Christmas tradition. Merry Christmas once again, everybody. And you know, our Christmas present came last year because we have the Saints, we've got the Pelicans, and of course we have the minor league baseball team, was the Zephyrs, now the Baby Cakes. But we have now our third major league sport here. Last year was the first year for the rugby team, the Major League Rugby League, and the New Orleans Gold. We call it the NOLA Gold. Remember 2 months ago I had the owner Tim Falcon. Last month it was the GM Ryan Fitzgerald, along with head coach Nate Osborne. Well, now we have two players. One of them came last year. That's Holden Youngert. And we have an Australian import who played in the Olympics in Rio in 2016. His name's Con Foley, and they're back on Primetime Sports. What's up, man?
Thanks, Scott. Thanks
good
for
to
having
see you
us.
again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
How you doing, bud?
Very well.
Well, let's start with you. You were here last year. Year one, you came with Matt Houston. Now we're in year two. They moved the season up, so it's not going to be so hot in the summer. They start in January 26th as opposed to late March. What should we expect from this NOLA Gold team this year?
Well, we got a lot of new guys that came in because it's a longer season. We brought in a bit more talent, a bit more
world-class players.
Yeah, some real world-class players like my buddy Con right here.
Right.
Australian Olympic athlete. He captained the side as well, so we got some good guys, top-class guys this year.
And some of the returning guys, like who are some of the stars that are coming back that we remember from last year?
Some of the guys like Ben Tarr,
yeah.
Nikola Bursic, some of our big guys up front. Taylor Howden, who was our captain last year and president of the club this year. A few other guys, coming in.
Well, you mentioned Con, who's sitting right here from Australia, playing the Olympics. What made you decide to come to New Orleans?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's just a really exciting opportunity. The opportunity came up to live in an amazing city and to join the MLR, which is a really exciting prospect. The first season last year seemed to go really well, and I think it's only going to get better and better from here.
Well, I know bringing an Olympian, that was one of the big selling points with you, and I'm thinking, when you first heard New Orleans was interested in you, what do you know about the city? I mean, at all, from Australia, I'm interested in the perspective people from out of the country, particularly so far away, have of it.
Yeah, well, I was a little bit of a Saints fan.
Really?
A bit of a Drew Brees fan back at home.
People are going to love you if you keep talking like that.
Good to hear. No, but I had a few friends come and visit New Orleans, and most people only stay for 3 or 4 days on their travel around America.
That's all you can take.
Yeah, exactly. They tend to end up on Bourbon Street most of those nights. But I think the more I learned about the city, about the history of jazz and just the general vibes and southern culture of the place, I was very keen to get over here.
Is rugby like the main sport in Australia? I mean, what are because I know rugby's much bigger in other places. It's getting big in the United States. Even high schools in New Orleans are having it now. They didn't have when I was in high school. But is it one of the main sports in Australia?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've got a few football codes that compete against each other. We've got rugby league, rugby union. We've got the Aussie rules, and the soccer as well. So there's a fair bit of a battle for exposure in Australia with sport, but rugby's definitely one of them.
Well, Major League Rugby is becoming a hit. Now they added New York this year and Toronto next year. They're bringing on Boston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C. to go along with the teams they have right there. You see Glendale's actually Phoenix. Obviously, Seattle's been in the league. You got teams all over in Austin and other places. What made you come to New Orleans last year when you had options to go other places? I just talked to Con about it, but you, Holden.
It was kind of a stroke of luck, really. I got contacted by the coach, and they wanted me. And I mean, I'm a West Coast kid, through and
Bay
through.
Area, right?
Yeah, born and raised in the Bay Area. And I just felt coming out of college, it was maybe time to step out of that bubble and see something new. And
well, what's New Orleans been for you? It's interesting because you come from the West Coast, and obviously it's a whole different lifestyle. And now you've been here a year. I mean, I know you're probably traveling in between the season, but what's it been like for you? What's your take of New Orleans?
I love it down here. It's definitely got a certain hum to it that I don't think a lot of cities have that I've seen. And there's nothing like the Southern hospitality. It really rings true here. So
I'm curious. You brought up Bourbon Street as something you always hear about. You've been here a week. Have you been to Bourbon Street yet?
Not yet. But
Stay far away.
It's definitely on the to-do list, that's for sure.
Talk about this team. Nate Osborne's coaching. I know you have already started practice. Preseason starts literally in like a week or two. I know, right? It's Christmas Day today, so in a week you're going to have preseason. What's going on today? What's a typical day for the rugby? Let's start with you.
So typical days, we start at 8:30 in the gym. We'll train in the gym for an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how quickly you get your work done. And then we go back to the clubhouse, which is right down the street, and we do a little reload time. So whether that's getting some food in you, fueling up, watching a little bit of film, having one-on-one meetings, or just getting to hang out with the guys.
Right.
Yeah, and then we head out to the field right after that.
I think people will be surprised when they hear this because I'm learning the game myself because I'm going to be your play-by-play broadcaster. But the term touchdown from football actually comes from rugby, and a lot of what football is originated from rugby, which was around way before football was. Touchdown means when you get past your goal line, you'll have to touch the ball down, or it's not. You can cross it. That doesn't mean you scored yet. You have to touch it down on the ground, right?
Yep. Yeah. Correct. There's a few different terms. We call it in Australia meat pie for a try time. Yeah,
and a try is like a touchdown, right?
Yep. Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Because explain what that was, because it used to be you got it, and they said you got the try, meaning you scored, but you don't score until you get the extra point, right? Back in the day. I'm curious.
Yeah. So we've like American football, we've got the point after attempt. It's like a conversion for goal.
Right.
After you score and put the ball down.
And it's where you land on the field is where you have to kick the extra point from, which I found interesting. That's why you find people, if they get in the open, they want to run in the middle to make the extra point, which is, by the way, 2 points. And the touchdown, well, the try is 5 as opposed to 6 in American football, and 1 for the extra point. I'm trying to learn as we speak. Am I correct in that?
You're doing all right so far.
Doing all right? I got a long way to go, trust me. Back to this team, though. When you got Nate Osborne, what separates him as a coach? Because he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
Every time he's come in here, and obviously I ran into him at the scrimmage the other day. What separates him as a coach from other coaches you've had?
I think he's one of the most personable guys you'll meet. He's very much so a player's coach where, I mean, he's been through it too. He's had his days, and he understands kind of the demands and the needs of the professional athlete, and how to when it's business time and when it's time to relax, and then kind of how to interact with you in between those.
All right, this is what I want to, just to give a quick explanation for people that don't know. When you're on the field, kind of explain the game. If you're talking to a guy that just came from Mars, and if you have 1 minute to explain what rugby is and how you play it, how would you do that?
Okay, so I'd say it's similar to American football in the way, there's a lot of contact. It's a tackle sport, but without the pads.
Without the pads?
Yeah, and no passing the ball forward. So we'll set up from a set piece, either a try or a line out, and there's basically collisions with rucks, and then halfbacks like my man Holden here.
Right.
We'll clear from the base of the ruck, and we'll basically have another hit up.
One term that we always hear, I mean, everybody knows what scrum, well, they heard the term scrum. I don't know if everybody realizes what it is. And what I learned, scrum is usually when all the guys but all the big guys are in there, and then they're getting ready to set up for the quicker, smaller guys, I guess like y'all, who are basically the guys that are going to run down the field and score. Kind of explain how that works.
So the scrum's used as a reset of play.
Right.
And how they do it, kind of like from the stands, it might look like a giant dog pile or just like a big huddle, but
like in this picture right here.
Yeah, right there, right there. But it's super intricate, right? You have 8 guys, and they're all going as hard as they can, applying force to each other. And it's mostly just for a contest for the ball to restart the play, with a little advantage for the team that's actually putting the ball in.
They get to throw where they want, right? And that's why the team that has the ball that throws it in, they're the ones that are set up to run. That's why they kind of go in that diagonal position. You have to see to explain it. I'm still learning myself. Yeah. Most guys I know that played rugby, I have some friends when I lived in D.C. in Atlanta, they played either high school or college football and they got into it. Is that kind of the norm you find? What did you do before?
So I started playing rugby in high school, and I'd say right around my age is when it's becoming more like that. I know kids younger than me, they've probably played just as long as I have.
Are you talking about rugby?
Yeah, rugby.
Yeah, okay.
But they also play football too. So it's really becoming more of a multi-sport thing where kids play football, rugby, and all that from a very young age.
And what about you? Was this something you played from birth?
Yeah, I pretty much started playing when I was 4 years old. So
that's how you go to the Olympics, folks. Start at 4.
Exactly.
What was that experience like for you, going to Rio?
It was pretty unreal. It was sort of strange when I first joined the Sevens. Is when rugby had just been announced as being held back in the Olympics. So since I first started, that was sort of the whole building block towards it. So
basically, in our lifetime, it's the first time the rugby's been in the Olympics, and you were in the inaugural things. What was it like around the Olympic community when you tell them the sport? Did most people know what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, a lot of the Pacific nations love their rugby.
Huge.
Rugby's a religion in a lot of those countries. So, to be able to be part of the first teams that play in the Olympics in our lifetime is it was a great experience.
Well, and you're part of something new here. I mean, this is a burgeoning league. Like last year, there were 7 teams. This year, 9. They're going to expand, like I said, to even bigger cities next year. What's it like to be on something from the ground floor? Because at one time, the NFL was fledgling. I mean, we saw MLS in the United States just started about a quarter of a century ago, and where that's grown to. What's it like for you to be a part of something new and exploding? I'm talking, this rugby, by the way, sells out. Hong Kong, they had 100,000 in a stadium once. I saw it in Wembley, they sold that out. Even in Soldier Field, I think the black tournament they had, this past summer, they had 75,000 in that stadium. You're part of something that's brand new and booming.
Yeah, I just consider myself lucky. I mean, growing up and being interested in rugby, it's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you write rugby player, and it's like, that's not going to happen. And now it is. So, and it's becoming one of those things where, like, now basically, if you're talented enough, you have a shot at going to the league, which is.
I mean, what is like the levels of rugby? I know this is a new league, but the worldwide, don't they have like a Northern Hemisphere championship and a Southern Hemisphere, like where they get the best from and they kind of play to win that thing? What are the next levels of rugby?
Yeah, so I suppose there's a few different competitions around the world. There's a European Championship, which all the best teams from Europe play in, which is in terms of club teams in the world, that's probably right up there. In Australia, we have a competition with South Africa and New Zealand. And
a lot of great players from those countries, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I met a couple of them, and they said, yeah, that's one of their biggest sports. Hey, I got a picture of you, and your eyes are kind of possessed looking. I want to take a look. So what were you thinking right here in this picture? Kind of give us a rundown of what was going on in your mind.
So this guy that guy's a great player, first of all. And he had just broken, like, who knows how many tackles, maybe like 6 or 7 tackles. And he's going 50-meter.
He's heading to the end zone.
He's going to score. Right. And I was just thinking, he's a lot faster than me, so I just got to get there, right? So just got to get a hand on him.
It's like, just touch him, slow him down. Yeah. Well, that's funny. Hey, by the way, it is Christmas, so we bring gifts. I've got lots of apparel for you guys, and plus a little lunch thing. I think I did I already give you those gift certificates? For Shays Delachey's, I'll give them to you. Shays Delachey's, obviously a restaurant. Go grab yourself some lunch. Task Performance, I think you wanted the medium right there.
I'm a medium man.
And hey, rugby players wear Task. This is what Drew Brees wears all the time. This is what Sean Payton, your guy Drew Brees. By the way, how did you become a Saints fan down there? I love it.
Yeah, we get a bit of American football in Australia. So suppose you just pick and choose. Bridger's a pretty easy player to like. So
he is. And by the way, now you can wear a Saints thing. This is the Saints fleur-de-lis. This is a company called NOLAshirts.com. Great Christmas idea. I'm going to give you the black one and you the white. They're awesome. Little fleur-de-lis. It's not gaudy. It's nice, and it just says NOLA down there.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you guys. I can't wait for the season. By the way, get out there. First of all, there's the big Lebowski party I talked about earlier in the show. That's going to be on January 13th at Rock and Bowl. But the season starts, well, there you go. Right there. John Goodman will be there. Lieutenant Governor. The Iguanas are a great band. Lots of local celebrities will be there. Check that out. Go to the website and check it out. But here's the schedule. The first 4 games are all at home.
Yep.
So that should be fun. You don't have to go travel. Then you got to hit the road for a while. But check it out starting on January 26th. Get your tickets at NOLAGoldRugby.com. And I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
and this is also our New Year's show. So if you're watching on New Year's, welcome to 2019. Good luck the rest of the way, guys.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, and I can't wait, man. I'm excited. Hey, back in '67, the Saints started. Not many people knew about them, and look where they are now. Hopefully 50 years from now, we'll be talking about rugby like we're talking about the New Orleans Saints today. Hey, I got to thank my man, Ronnie Lamarck. He sang 2 songs, one last week on the show, one this week, and we had a great time with him. Of course, last week we had Doug Thornton on. We had David Wesley, the former Hornet, who now calls the Pelicans games, and so much more. I want to thank Chase Fourcade from this show, and of course, Mark Romig, who is the voice of the Saints in the Dome. Hey, we'll see you next week. Well, we're going to take a week. We'll see you on January 8th right here on Primetime Sports.